Orlando Hernandez starts the fourth against one of the guys who hurt him in the first. Edgar Martinez had an RBI double that made it 2-0. He'll be followed by Olerud and Ibanez. That one bends in there for strike one.
And he started both A-Rod and Edgar off with pitches that they got base hits on in the first inning. He just made better pitches with them. That was a curveball there that he hit in the first inning, but that one was down.
0-2. El Duque was asked recently about pressure, considering the fact that he seems so cool and composed in tough games. He says, no, I feel pressure every game. What I never feel is fear. Struck him out on 3 pitches. Number 4 for El Duque.
And this is what you expect from El Duque, is to get ahead in the count. Here's the slider instead of the curveball. So he doesn't have as much time to wait to see if it's going to stay in the strike zone. He threw him a curveball to start the at-bat off, but this slider forces him to react quickly, and it's off the plate outside.
Olerud fly to deep center his first time up. Strike one to him. Am I the only guy with the feeling that El Duque is settling into a groove?
No, you can see that he's now getting the ball down. He was up in the first inning, but it cost him 2 runs. Now all of a sudden he's getting the pitches where he wants. He's been able to find his rhythm.
And he's fanned 4 of the last 8 hitters he's faced. He's one of those guys. Subway strikeouts being posted in anticipation of a Subway series. He is one of those guys, if you can be impartial about it, you're not rooting for either team, you're just a baseball fan, you have to love watching him work. He is a high kicking, swashbuckling son of a gun. And his 2-1 pitch is fouled away.
That's what we are.
Well,
right?
goes
Baseball
without
fans.
saying. Oh, baseball
impartial,
fans.
yeah, you said
right.
Impartial, whatever.
No, I was kind of fancying myself as a swashbuckling son of a gun, but I guess I got carried away. And I soon may be led away.
And the fans are starting to get into his strikeouts. Every time he gets 2 strikes on a hitter now, we get a little response. They had been quieted down.
A line drive toward right center field. O'Neill is in pursuit. He won't get there. It'll go to the wall. Olerud on his way to second, and he'll stop there with a 1-out double.
This looks like the same pitch he had in the first inning, but he popped it up. Exact same pitch. Fastball is moving away from him a little bit. And Olerud lines it into right center field. Paul O'Neill not able to run it down, and Olerud has a 1-out double.
Third Seattle hit, all of them doubles. Ibanez struck out to end the first, stranding a man at third. Strike one.
And Ibanez is going to have to prove to El Duque that he can handle his fastball. He threw the fastball by him by moving in and out in the first inning. And he starts him with 1 here in the second. And in the fourth.
0-2.
Good backdoor breaking ball. It's a backdoor breaking ball. It starts off the plate outside and just comes back and gets the outside corner. There's a good rotation, and it finds the outside corner.
Ibanez spoils it. Joe Torre says that Orlando Hernandez reminds him in some respects of Juan Marichal because of the wide repertoire of pitches and the variety of arm angles. You faced Marichal and others. Who, if anyone, does El Duque remind you of?
Well, I don't think anyone would ever remind me of Marichal because he had a different style, different kick. He reminds me more of Louis Tiant than anyone else.
And nobody kicked as high as Marichal. The 0-2. He wastes that one, a ball and 2 strikes.
Juan Marichal had all the pitches: fastball, curveball, slider, screwball, changeup, and he threw them all from different angles as El Duque does. But I think he reminds me more of Louis Tiant.
Still 1-2 to Ibanez.
He continues to try to get Ibanez out with a fastball. That was supposed to be up and in. He's fouled off the last 2 fastballs, but he wants that pitch up and in to strike him out, but he wasn't able to get it there.
When you can throw so many different pitches, and Hernandez doesn't have quite as many as Marichal did, but he has plenty. And when, like Marichal, you can throw them from a variety of arm angles with control, that really gives you a dozen different pitches or more.
Correct. And it keeps the guy from guessing, because he can throw you a fastball, but if he drops down and throws the fastball, it'll tail away from the left-handed hitter. If he throws the fastball over the top, it'll be like a cutter and come in. So it's the same pitch, a fastball, but it moves in different directions.
Olerud, who doubled, is at second with 1 out. Seattle leads it 2-0 as they bat in the 4th. And another 1-2 pitch to Ibanez. Misses outside.
In fact, they call Louis Tiant El Tiante in Boston. And this is El Duque.
Fellow Cuban.
Yeah.
He pitched on his birthday 6 days ago. The dispute was, should there be 31 candles on the cake or 35? In the air to left, Justice over and toward the line to take it for the 2nd out. Olerud back to second base.
Let's take a look at the different delivery angles from El Duque to Ibanez. That's the high fastball. There's the curveball, the second pitch. Then he comes back with a fastball. And most of the pitches you'll see are fastballs. They're just thrown from different angles. One other curveball and all fastballs away. He wanted to get him out with a fastball, and that's what he ended up doing, getting him with a fastball away.
The birth certificate may have been lost on the raft, but nonetheless, when he arrived in the big leagues, he was no rookie. He was a seasoned performer who had pitched in big pressure games for the Cuban national team. Here's a long drive to right that's going to double the lead. Long gone off the bat of Carlos Guillen. And the lineup change by Lou Piniella pays big dividends. To get another left-handed bat in, he removed David Bell, inserted Guillen, and Guillen just crushes one off El Duque.
This ballpark favors left-handed hitters anyway, so putting a left-hander in actually adds to your advantage. Here, and this is a fastball in. Watch, it's supposed to be way in. It doesn't get it in. Look, it moves back out over the plate, and Guillen drills it. This is an upper deck home run. I mean, this is way up. Ends up in the upper deck. And there's El Duque. Knows that he made a big mistake there. The ball was supposed to be a fastball in. It moved back out over the plate.
A strike to McLemore. During the season, Guillen had 7 home runs. This one makes it 4-0 Seattle. Bouncing ball to second. Here's Soho. That takes care of Seattle in the 4th. I guess those who thought that a Subway Series was a foregone conclusion thought Seattle would provide only token opposition. It's been anything but. In the distance, Shea Stadium. They'll play games 3, 4, and 5 of the World Series there. The question is, who'll provide the opposition? The Yankees still have the inside track, but it's less of a certainty than it was certainly 48 hours ago, or even at the start of this game 6. 4-0 Seattle as we go to the bottom of the 4th. All 4 Seattle hits have been for extra bases. 3 doubles and the upper deck home run by Guillen.
Well, if you're the Yankees, you're watching Halama and you realize he's not as sharp today as he was in game 2, so you still feel like you can score some runs.
A strike call to Jeter. Justice will follow, and then Bernie Williams in the 4th. John Halama is a big guy, but not a power pitcher. He's a finesse guy. Slice to right and pretty deep. Back goes Ibanez to take it at the wall.
Jeter doesn't ever get his arms extended like a lot of power hitters. He hits the ball from inside out, and he drives this one pretty well, but he didn't get enough of it to get it over the wall. More of a line drive.
The Yankees have made 10 outs in this game. Half of the putouts belong to Ibanez in right field. Including Justice, who flied to him in shallow right to end the 1st. Ball 1 high. That one's in there.
Halama has not had as good a control of his fastball tonight as he had in the 1st game, and definitely has not had good control of his curveball. That was his curveball there. He has a better curveball overhand, but it seems like he's trying to shorten it a little bit so that he can throw strikes with it.
But you saw his combined line, and maybe we can get it back up there after the next pitch. Between games 2 and 6 to this point, he's pitched the equivalent of a shutout.
Correct. But in game 2, he was really sharp. But it's hard to be that sharp, you know, against the Yankees the second time around, because they also know what to expect, and they're trying to make adjustments to what you're doing.
But they've had only 1 hit, a sharp single up the middle by Bernie Williams to start the 2nd. And Halama has walked only 1. Soho in the 3rd. And he leads it 4-0. A drive to right. Ibanez in pursuit. He may have short hopped it. He did not catch it cleanly. It's a base hit for Justice.
Good job by Jerry Davis down the right field line. He got out there very quickly to make sure this ball wasn't caught. This is a hanging curveball. See, this is not the curveball that he had the first time around. He did not have a good curveball tonight, so he hangs it, and there you see a nice play by Ibanez, but he's not able to come up with it. But he is able to hold Justice to a single. The ball clearly hits the ground.
Ibanez must be wearing magnets. Everything goes his way. First one to Bernie Williams. Inside. Williams had a career-high 30 home runs and 121 RBIs during the regular season. Justice at first with 1 out on the 4th. Tino Martinez on deck.
In game 2, he threw Bernie a lot of curveballs, but he doesn't have as good a control of his curveball, so he's going to have to try to get him out with a fastball and a change.
Pop back to the seats.
There's the changeup, and he had Bernie out in front. There you see what Bernie has done. He has a hitting streak going. He's had a base hit in each of the 5 games so far, and also here in the 6th game.
And he has taken his usual between pitches stroll. Now settles back in after taking the night air. And the 1-1 pitch. Got the corner, 1-2. Halama actually went into a park with his brother Steve on Sunday with his team playing in Seattle to get some throwing in because he had stayed here over the weekend to attend his sister Barbara's wedding. That one's at the corner and right at the knees. So his brother Steve worked him out while his team was a continent away. Williams had stepped out and time obviously had been called. Olerud playing off the bag with Justice at first and 1 down. Rolled foul.
There's his curveball, still not quite as sharp as he would like, but he feels like he has to throw it until he can find it. Because that's a very important pitch for him against the left-handed hitters as well as the right-handed hitters, because it's a completely different speed.
Up and in, 2-2. Ripped over Guillen's head into left for a base hit. Justice will stop at second. Back-to-back singles with 1 out and an RBI chance for Tino Martinez.
It's good hitting here by Bernie Williams. It's a change-up away, and he reaches out and pulls it to left field for a base hit. The pitch before, they tried to come inside with a fastball. He couldn't get it there, so he comes back with a changeup, and Bernie waits on it and lines it to left field for a base hit. And there's Jeter all excited. He says, yeah, we've got something going now.
Williams had never had a hit prior to tonight off Halama, 0 for 9. He singled sharply against him each of his first 2 turns. First Yankee as far as second base tonight against Halama. A beach ball was thrown out onto the field, and that's the delay as the ball boy goes out and gets it. Halama facing Martinez, who hit the ball sharply in the second, but right at McLemore, who turned it into a 4-6-3 double play. Ball 1 high. Martinez's power numbers were down during the season. He had only 16 home runs. He has 1 in the playoffs.
If you're the Yankees, it's important that you put a run on the board if just 1. The fact there is that you will let Halama know that you can score off of him.
Two on, 1 out, and the 1-1 pitch coming. Down and away. You look at a guy like Halama, despite his size, he doesn't throw that hard, and that's why he was taken in the 23rd round. The scouts tend to look at physical tools. This guy will nibble here and finesse you there. Last pitch 68, pitch before that 77. But he's beaten the Yankees twice this year and had a strong no decision against them in game 2. Here's his 2-1 pitch. In the air down the left field line and apparently out of play, which it is.
And Bob, when you do not throw hard and you rely on finesse, you have to be able to throw strikes. You can't pitch from behind consistently. He doesn't have the same location tonight that he had in game 2. But you didn't expect him to. I didn't expect him to come out and try to pitch another shutout for 6 innings. You know the Yankees are going to make adjustments, and they're going to force him to change his pattern. He had a pattern against just about every hitter in the second game. They're forcing him to change those patterns by sitting on those pitches.
And the 2-2. Bounce foul. Lee Mazzilli, the Yankee coach, at first. Willie Randolph on the lines at third.
Every hitter in the Yankee lineup knows exactly how Halama got them out in game 2. So when they came into the ball game today, they're trying to make adjustments to those pitches. The difference is that Halama doesn't have the same location that he had in game 2, and it's not working to their advantage. If he was able to throw the same pitches, they would know exactly what's coming.
In the course of stranding 15 runners in game 5 at Seattle, the Yankees were just 2 for 15 with runners in scoring position. This is their first such opportunity tonight, trailing 4-0 in the 4th.
Good pitch there from Halama. Completely fooled Martinez, but at least he got a piece of it. This is not the big curveball, so it's more of a half curve slider or slurve, if you want to call it that. And Martinez tries to check his swing, but he gets a piece of it. In game 2, he had a bigger overhand curveball than he has tonight.
Another 2-2 pitch. Full count. I wouldn't expect that they'd be running, trailing 4-0, left-handed hitter at the plate. Could be an ideal strikeout throwout situation.
Well, the other danger is if he hits a line drive at someone, it's a double play, and you have runners in scoring position, and you want to take your shots at trying to put some runs on the board this way. Just take your shot.
They are not going, and the 3-2 pitch is outside, and the bases are loaded. Here comes the pitching coach, Brian Price.
Well, he had a 2-2 count, and he threw him a changeup after missing with a curveball. Now he comes with another changeup, and he misses outside.
Brett Tomko, who had an effective stint at Safeco earlier in the series, gets up. He's the former Cincinnati Red who came to Seattle along with Mike Cameron and a couple of prospects in the Ken Griffey Jr. deal. Time to take a look at things from the Budweiser blimp and its eye-in-the-sky camera. Proud to provide you with these live shots 1,000 feet above Yankee Stadium. To all baseball fans, this Bud's for you.
Piniella has a 4-0 lead, but you cannot stay with Halama too long and give most of that lead back.
Justice at third, Williams at second. They both singled. Martinez, who walked, is at first. Posada is the tying run at the plate with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. He lined to right his first time up. Swings at the first one and fouls it back. The struggling Paul O'Neill is on deck. So Posada is a very, very big hitter for Halama.
Well, he helped Halama out. That pitch was up and away, and he chased it.
Of course, Posada hasn't hit much in the postseason either. But he's a switch hitter batting right-handed. O'Neill hits lefty. Inside and low.
The pitch that has been effective for him against the right-handed hitters has been the fastball inside. And that's because he threw most of the right-handers away last time and used his changeup and curveball away. So they're a little surprised when he comes inside with the fastball.
Swinging a drive toward the gap in right center field. Could be big trouble. It gets down. It's against the wall. One run home. A second home. They stop Martinez at third. The lead is cut in half. And a base hit could tie it. It's 4-2 Seattle on the double by Posada.
Well, it's hard to tell a pitcher not to make too good a pitch. He throws this pitch off the plate outside. Not a bad pitch. But Posada rips it up the alley in right center field. And the Mariners are lucky that only 2 runs score on this play. They made a good relay to the plate. And they hold Bernie Williams. As Bernie comes around third, he waves Martinez home, but he can't get there.
Williams might have thought that Tino was going to follow him. But with one out, Willie Randolph stopped him. O'Neill tapped to the mound his first time up. He lines this one through for a base hit. Posada had to wait. Randolph's waving him home anyway, and now he stops him. He was waving him home, and as he came around third, he stopped him. So 1 run scores, and it's 4-3. Posada held his ground at second base just to see if McLemore could make the play on the ball hit up the middle by O'Neill. So Martinez scores from third, but Posada is stopped at third.
And O'Neill gets a fastball, and he actually pushes it off. Gets a fastball in, and he pushes up the middle for a base hit. And as you mentioned, Posada had to hold up for a split second, and therefore he wasn't able to score. And you see Randolph yelling for him to go. And then he holds him up.
Posada and O'Neill, 2 slumping Yanks, come through, and Halama is through. So you're John Halama. You pitched shutout ball in a 6-inning stint in Game 2 against the Yanks. You're up 4-0 into the 4th, 1 out, nobody on, and then the roof falls in. Justice singles to right. Williams with a hit. Tino Martinez a walk. Posada a double to right center that scores 2. O'Neill a single up the middle that plates 1. Brings Brett Tomko out of the bullpen. And the Yankees still threatening, first and third, 1 out. Here's Soho. Infield looks for the double play as he takes a strike.
I feel that Lou Piniella wanted to go get Halama sooner, but he liked the matchups in that he had Posada hitting from the right side to try to get the ground ball. And then he had O'Neill, so he had to let him hit against those, pitch against those 2 hitters.
And this one is popped up. McLemore into shallow right. There's the second out. So Randolph stopped Posada at third, thinking that with 1 out, they could get a run home without benefit of a hit.
As it turned out, he could have scored because the relay throw was offline, but you do not know that because they were going to have plenty of time to probably get Posada if the throw was on target.
Now, barring a wild pitch or an error, Brocious will have to come through against Tomko. who was very impressive in Game 3 for 2 innings. Piniella said afterwards that maybe he left him in too long. He let him work a 3rd inning, and then he got lit up. He faces Brocious. He struck out in the 3rd against Halama. A slow roller, tough play. Guillen charging, throws on the run, and the Mariners cling to a 1-run lead.
Great job.
Tomko comes in and retires the 2 hitters he faces and maintains a 1-run lead. Bob Costas back with Joe Morgan. Joe, even before Halama got in trouble when he had a 1-hitter going, you called it. He did not have his good stuff tonight.
And the reason I knew that he was going to have problems, Bob, is because he doesn't have a good enough fastball that he can just throw the fastballs. And he had a changeup, but he doesn't have his curve, did not have his curveball today. You can't beat these Yankees and shut them down without having 3 good pitches if you do not have a good fastball. His fastball is just not good enough that he could throw it to these Yankee hitters. And he was missing with his curveball, so all they had to do was deal with 2 pitches, fastball, changeup, and they were able to handle it.
So he's gone, can't be the winner. The man who's trailing El Duque is still on the mound into the 5th. A ball and a strike to Dan Wilson, who'll be followed by Stan Javier and Al Martin. And the left-handed hitters hurt Halama in that 4th inning. The switch hitters, Williams and Posada, each had a hit. But so did the lefties, Justice and O'Neill, and Tino Martinez worked the walk.
And without the good curveball, Bobby really doesn't have a pitch to get the left-handed hitters out with, because he's not going to throw him a changeup. So he's going to end up throwing fastballs. He hung the curveball to Justice, but without the curveball, he was going to have problems the entire evening. You have to have a curveball if you do not throw hard. And he tried to even get a fastball by O'Neill, and he couldn't get it by him.
Wilson struck out on the 2nd. The 2-2 pitch. Just inside.
When you drop down a little bit, the ball tails in more. See how the ball is tailing into Dan Wilson? It's off the plate inside.
A little bloop, and his long drought is over. All rise for Dan Wilson, who ends an 0 for 41 playoff streak.
And we were all pulling for it.
And sometimes that's the way you have to do it.
You're right. I mean, he hits this ball off the end of the bat, and it's a little flare over first base. And he gets a base hit. And when I say we're pulling from, you never like to see a player go 0 for 41. I don't care who the player is.
It wouldn't have cracked an eggshell had it landed on one, but it'll look a whole lot better in the box score than that long fly to the warning track at Safeco that just continued the streak.
Well, they have to be careful over there, Bobby. He hasn't been at first base in so long. He has to make sure he doesn't get picked off.
He has to make sure he remembers that he's supposed to run counterclockwise. This is key.
And this is interesting. They have Javier squared around to bunt, and we'll see if that continues. But Javier has been one of the players who have had pretty good success off of El Duque in the past.
Brocious in on the grass. Javier pulls back and takes a ball.
And I agree with Lou trying to make sure that he adds runs, because a 1-run lead against the Yankees definitely is not safe. So what you try to do is just get 1 here, 1 there, and try to add to your lead until the big guys get up, and hopefully they'll be able to do some damage.
Squaring and taking ball 2. There's a long way to go, but it's possible that a key play in this game will be Posada holding at 3rd on the base hit by O'Neill. You could see from the replay that Jorge actually misjudged it. McLemore had no chance to get the ball, so he could have broken sooner. As it was, Randolph was at first waving him home, but then when he realized that he'd gotten a late break and there could have been a play at the plate, he stopped him at 3rd. Tomko came out of the bullpen, got a pop-up with the runners holding, and then a ground out to end the inning. The Yankees stranded runners at 1st and 3rd, and the run represented by Posada could have tied the game.
There's no doubt that that's a big play, Bob. All big plays do not happen in the 7th inning. or later. A lot of big plays happened early in the ball game because what that did is it lets the Mariners know that they still have the lead. There's a big difference in being tied on the road and having the lead. And Billy Connor's out to check on El Duque.
Mike Stanton warming up.
This also was interesting, Bob. When they called timeout, Stan Javier went down to talk to Larry Bohr. A lot of times a manager will not force a guy to bunt 2-0. You know, guys throwing balls, you do not want to bunt and get him out with just one strike. So sometimes you'll take a strike and then go back to bunting. It'll be a dangerous move to try to hit and run with Dan Wilson at first base.
He's got a short lead over there and is back easily.
Javier didn't give the bunt away on that particular pitch. And Lou may be saying, hey, it's 2 balls, no strikes. Look for a fastball and try to drill it. Look for a fastball, try to do some damage. And that's what he does. He lets him try to sit on the fastball, try to pull the ball, maybe even hit the ball out of the ballpark. I think that's a smart move by a manager. 2-0, don't let him throw 1 strike and you go ahead and bunt the ball.
So a little flare from Wilson. Now the count 3-0 to Javier. He's taking all the way, and there's a strike.
Now he has a decision to make. Do you go back and bunt him over to second base, or do you put a hit and run on? Both the first base coach, he's standing there talking to Dan Wilson, and Larry Bohr is giving a sign to third. If I was going to guess, I would think that he would let him hit.
There he goes. He's swinging. Line drive, double play. Jeter can walk it over there himself if he wants.
And that's the danger. Everyone, when you talk about hitting and running, you talk about putting runners in motion. The danger is that the hitter hits a line drive and it's a double play. A lot of things can happen that are negative. Tough pitch, and he swings at it probably because Dan Wilson is running. This pitch is probably ball 4, but he can't take it because Dan Wilson's running. If it's called a strike, he knows Dan's going to be out. And that was another interesting play because with a count 3-1, Derek Jeter did not cover.
Yep.
And that's something that, you know, if you're Stan Javier, you have to say, think about it yourself. Who's going to cover?
Left-handed hitter.
Yeah.
And the second baseman Soho was covering. Had it been Jeter and had the ball been in the same place, it's right through the spot he vacates.
And that's a choice you make as a hitter. You say, I'm going to go to my strength and try to pull the ball, or am I going to slap at it and go the other way? And he chose in that situation to go the other way. With 2 balls and 2 strikes, you normally will go the other way. But when you're ahead in the count, you have a choice.
Well, the pitch was down and away, and he may have felt that with Wilson, the catcher, running, if he takes the pitch and it's called a strike, there's a ball hit in the air to center. Williams coming in, and this is going to finish the inning. He may have thought if I take a strike, Wilson's going to be thrown out stealing. So he put the bat on the ball as best he could and lined into a double play. Seattle is history in the 5th. Four runs, 5 hits, no errors for Seattle. 3-5-0 for New York. Bottom of the 5th, game 6. If there is a 7th game tomorrow night, Aaron Seeley will pitch it for Seattle with Freddie Garcia available in the bullpen. Andy Pettitte would be the game 7 starter for New York. Up and in a Knobloch from Tomko.
And Tomko has a good fastball. He has a good breaking ball. And what he did in Seattle until he tired the other day was he just held the Yankees in complete check. He has a good fastball. He held them completely in check with fastballs away, fastballs in.
One of the many attributes of Joe Torre as a manager is his patience. Of course, he has a talented enough roster that he can be more patient than most managers, but still, guys like Knobloch, maybe others would have given up on him.
True.
He also apparently has no doghouse because Knobloch and Nelson and others have blown off some steam in the press. and Joe doesn't hold it against them. They were pretty close to trading Andy Pettitte to Philadelphia last year till Torre interceded. And I can't remember a defending champion that's had as much roster turnover the next year as this New York Yankee team has. But the rock in the center of it all is Joe Torre.
Correct.
2-1 pitch, popped up left side. Guillen at third base. It was a foul ball as he made the catch. Tomorrow on NBC, if there is no Game 7.
Wednesday, Law & Order returns with a new season and a new DA.
I'd like to hang their heads on our wall.
Law & Order premieres NBC Wednesday.
That's if there's no Game 7. Just for the record, the 97 Marlins from 97 to 98 had more turnover than any team, but they weren't really defending their championship.
They weren't trying.
Yeah, I mean, they'd broken up the team before they could clean up the confetti from the parade.
Bob, I think the point you made there about Joe Torre is very valid, and the fact that Joe was a player. So I think that has a lot to do with the way that he deals with the players. Not only was he a player, he was a star. So he understands what stars go through, and he also understands what the other players go through. And he knows sometimes they say things that they do not really mean. They say it in the heat of battle. And Joe just doesn't have a doghouse. I think that's the way to put it.
Jeter has twice flied to right. A ball and a strike. Thinking back to that Florida Marlins situation, you and I were in the ballpark when they win Game 7, a great Game 7 in the 11th on the Renteria hit. Such tension and drama. It almost hit Jeter. The count is 2-1, and then by the following April, fewer than half of those players were even there on opening day to receive their championship rings. I mean, that was a joke. But of the teams who actually proposed to defend their championship, the Yankees probably have had more roster turnover than any team in memory. The 2-1 pitch, cuts and misses.
And that's how Tom Cole pitched in Seattle. In with a fastball off the plate, moves Jeter away, and then he goes right on the outside corner. He just moved him off the plate inside. Now look at this pitch, right on the outside corner with some heat on it. He's got a great fastball, and Jeter a little late on it.
Lets that one go outside, full count. Tomko is 27 years old. This is his 4th year in the majors, first 3 with the Reds. He's 6'4", 215. He went 7-5 in a variety of roles, mostly out of the bullpen. And Tomko's ERA was 4.68 during the regular season. His 3-2 pitch to Jeter is fouled off.
Lou not quite as comfortable as he was with a 4-0 lead.
And a 1-out walk for Jeter.
Well, we mentioned Tomko has a good enough fastball that he can throw it to the hitters for strikes and not worry about him hitting him out of the ballpark. There's his slider, fastball off the plate. Now this is the best pitch he threw. Fastball right on the outside corner, nothing Jeter could do. He tried to reach out there again. Jeter fouls it. Now he misses again off the plate outside. But you see Lou getting a little nervous there in the dugout, trying to figure out exactly how he wants to match up for the remainder of this inning.
Jeter at first with 1 out. And ball 1 to Justice. Tomko has been throwing hard, getting into the mid-90s on the radar gun. He's out there pumping. Jeter at first is a high percentage base stealer, 22 of 26 during the season. The 1-0 to Justice. Rolled foul.
Tomko doesn't have a big high leg kick, so if Jeter does go, Dan Wilson will have a chance to throw him out. Now watch, he doesn't have a high leg kick, so Dan Wilson will have an opportunity, if he does go, to make a good throw and throw him out. But he's also staying at first base because he's leaving the hole on the right side for David Justice.
Tomko chases him back. Justice fly to right. And then his single with 1 out in the 4th started the 3-run Yankee rally. Two balls and a strike.
You can see that he's having trouble with his breaking ball as well. But he does have a good enough fastball that he can throw it for strikes and not worry about them pulling it out of the ballpark unless he makes a mistake middle of the plate in.
Big pitch here. Inside, 3-1. Bernie Williams will be next.
Fastball off the plate inside. Justice takes it. And we're in the same situation that the Mariners were in the top of the inning. Do you want to send the runner or not? Or I should say in the top of the 4th inning. I'll get it correct. It was the top of the 5th.
We knew what you meant. He goes on the 3-1 pitch, which is taken for a strike. The throw is high, and Jeter steals it.
And Justice thought this pitch was low. Tough pitch for Wilson to throw on. He had to come up and throw a strike, but he got it up. And Jeter in easily. Jeter gets a good jump. Throw is high. And he's in safely. That was definitely a hit and run. You can see that he looked at the plate to see what Justice did with the pitch. On a straight steal, most of your base stealers do not look at the plate to see if the hitter swings or not.
Is this about adjusting the signs with a runner at second, or solely about the 3-2 pitch coming to Justice?
I believe it's about the 3-2 pitch coming to Justice. You know, we're deep into the series. They already know how they want to change their signals. If they want to change them, you do not have to go out and tell them. All you do is wipe someplace, and that'll tell you which sign you're going to use.
The 3-2. Hit toward the hole. Backhanded by Rodriguez. Long throw. Great play.
The measure of a shortstop is how he handles the ball hit into the hole. A lot of people could play shortstop if they didn't have to go in the hole and make the long throw off of a left-handed hitter like David Justice. Here's Rodriguez. He goes in the hole, backhands it, plants. Now he's got such a strong arm that he just releases quick snap throw across the diamond, and he gets him. But this is the toughest play for a shortstop, going deep in the hole and having to make the long throw and having to get rid of it quickly. And Rodriguez does a great job there.
You watch that in Seattle with somewhat mixed emotions. Great play, yeah, A-Rod. Then you begin to think, is this the last game? Or maybe tomorrow? Or a week or so from now, if we make the World Series? Do we ever see him in Seattle again? Bernie Williams takes a ball.
A-Rod made the play, then he ran in and said something to Tomko. And I believe what he was saying there is that, look, Bernie's swinging the bat better than anyone on the Yankee ball club right now. That doesn't mean pitch around him, but be careful with it.
Williams had 2 sharp singles batting right-handed off Halama. Now he faces Tomko for the first time tonight and gets ahead on the count, 2-0.
And now Lou Piniella's going to come out and reinforce what A-Rod said. And I think this is smart. This is decision-making time. You say, well, we're going to pitch around Bernie. You're putting another runner and score on base. But you do not want to sit there and throw Bernie Williams too many 2-0 fastballs or a 3-0 fastball.
He's already shown what he can do with a 3-0 fastball. Ask Aaron Seeley about what happened on Friday night at Safeco. Here's a look at Williams' first 2 at-bats. Sharp singles off John Halama.
One with a fastball away, and he hit it up the middle. This is a changeup. He goes out and gets it and pulls it down the left field line for a base hit.
Williams looking for the base hit that could tie it, or the long ball that could give them the lead.
Changeup.
3-0.
They're not. I think they want to pitch around him. They didn't want him to throw him a 2-0 fastball. He wanted him to throw it for a strike, the changeup, but he did not want to throw a fastball for a strike. And now I think they're going to walk him intentionally, looks like. And a lot of people would disagree with this, but I think when you're in Lou Piniella's situation, you have to decide a lot in this game. You have to say, I'm not going to let Bernie Williams beat me because he's swinging the bat better than anyone else. And then he has to decide about his pitch and rotation if he's able to get out of this inning with the lead.
Brian Price now to the phone. At the moment, they don't have a left-hander throwing in the bullpen, and 2 of the next 3 scheduled hitters are left-handed. Starting with Martinez, who was grounded into a double play and walked.
And this is really not lack of respect for Tino. It's just that they got behind Bernie 2-0, and he would know exactly what was coming.
Tino takes high. The 2 lefties in the Mariner pen are Rob Ramsey and Arthur Rhodes. They're both sitting at the moment. That's Jose Paniagua, the hard-throwing right-hander with a good forkball who gets up. Two balls and no strikes. Piniella probably doesn't trust Ramsey, a rookie, in a situation like this with the series on the line at Yankee Stadium, and he doesn't like to use Rhodes this early in the game. Although when you get to a game 6 and you're trailing 3-2, or you get to a game 7, you use everybody somewhat differently than you usually do, but he's not going to bring him in here in the 5th.
Well, he told me that don't be surprised if he brought Arthur Rhodes here in the 5th, but you can see he's not because he doesn't have him up. And he was saying you might even use Sasaki in the 7th.
The 2-0 pitch fouled off. Tomko is pitching from behind on every hitter. A certain prescription for getting burned eventually.
Exactly, but the only thing that's saving him is that he has a good enough fastball. See the movement on this ball? It starts on the inside part and it moves a little bit, just enough so that Tino's able to foul it and not get good wood on it. And it gets a piece of Dan Wilson as well. This is a difference in strategy. You believe that you can throw a 2-0 fastball to Tino Martinez. He did not want to throw a 2-0 fastball to Bernie Williams.
Paniagua getting ready. But right now it's down to Tomko and Martinez. 2 on, 2 out, and the 2-1 pitch is popped back. No play.
This was a tough pitch and a smart pitch to throw. He got Tino looking for the fastball 2-0, and then he throws him a little changeup. He takes a little bit off, and watch, Tino's out in front. See the grip? Tino's out in front of this. He's lucky he didn't pop it up on the infield. That was a good pitch from Tomko. changeup. It's in the middle of the plate, but he was fooled by the speed.
And the 2-2. Broken back ground ball toward the hole. McLemore stops it. Tomko covers. What a play as they get him at first.
Great play by Tomko as well to get over there and give him a target.
The Yankees lead 2. The bat was shattered. McLemore ranging left and Tomko getting over there. Score at 4-1. And the more important score remains 4-3.
Watch how far McLemore has to range to get this ball. And that's the easy part, just going and catching it. But then you have to find the pitcher. Watch it. See, he has to hit the pitcher on the run while he's moving, and he does it perfectly. A nice play by Tomko to get over there. Now watch from this angle. See how difficult it is? He had to lead the pitcher, and he leads him perfectly, but Tomko got there in time enough to give him a target. Excellent defensive play by the Mariners.
Heart of the order in the Seattle 6th. A-Rod, Edgar Martinez, John Olerud. First one fouled off.
So far in this ball game, Hernandez has been trying to get Rodriguez out with a fastball. He got one up in the first inning. Rodriguez got a base hit. The next time up, he threw him all fastballs away and then struck him out with a high fastball away. And he starts him off with a fastball here.
Down and away, 1-1. When you're Orlando Hernandez, you don't get as quick a hook as others might. He also has a long established history of high pitch counts. You can leave him in for long stretches. He can throw well over 100 pitches without losing effectiveness. Plus, the Yankees have a problem now with their middlemen in the bullpen. Jeff Nelson was lit up on Sunday. He really likes to save Stanton for a situation where you just have to get a couple of left-handed hitters out. The injury to Ramiro Mendoza is something they've worked around for a long time, but it came back and bit them on Sunday in Seattle, because that would have been a situation in the 5th after he yanked Nagel where you'd go to Mendoza before you'd go to Nelson. And he doesn't have Ramiro now or at any time this October, even should they make the World Series. He's through. Rodriguez whacks one toward left center field. Bernie Williams on the run toward the warning track, plays it off the wall. Rodriguez, who doubled in the 1st, has another 2-bagger here in the 6th.
Well, El Duque continued to try to get him out with the fastball. This pitch is down. It's not a bad pitch, but A-Rod is strong. Watch where this pitch is. It's down. It gets the middle of the plate, but he goes out and gets it, and he's very strong. Hits it over the head of Bernie Williams. Bernie got a good jump on it, but the ball never came down. It just hits at the base of the wall in center field. And Alex A-Rod has a double. We're back to one of those situations where if you're Lou Piniella, do you want Edgar to take a shot towards right field, or do you want him to try to drive A-Rod in? Mike Stanton up in the bullpen.
After Martinez, you've got a string of left-handed hitters. Olerud, Ibanez, Guillen. Of course, Piniella has right-handed bats on his bench. Plenty of them. A strike to Edgar.
And watching Edgar in this series, it seems that he's guessing more than normal. I've seen him take pitches down the middle. He took a curveball from Jeff Nelson down the middle that he normally hits. And there's a first pitch fastball right where he likes the ball, and he takes it. It's as if he's guessing on certain pitches.
Comes down sidearm, and Edgar fouls it off. So El Duque gets ahead of him 0-2.
Now this is a sidearm breaking ball. It doesn't get away as much as El Duque would like. And he fouls it back.
The 0-2 pitch. 5 of the 6 Seattle hits have been for extra bases, 4 doubles, and Guillen's home run. The only exception, a little bloop single by Dan Wilson. Two and two.
Well, he got Edgar to chase that slider last time up to strike him out, but he's not able to start this one towards the plate. These start off the plate, so no way Edgar's going to swing at it. The only way he'll get him to chase it if it starts over the plate for a strike and then breaks off.
Counting is 1 for 2 tonight. Martinez is 4 for 9 in his career against El Duque, and the 2-2 pitch fouled away. Martinez had an RBI double in the first inning and struck out on a sweeping slider in the 4th.
You can see he's trying to stretch his elbow. We talked about the fact that he had a sore left elbow, which is your lead arm, and he's trying to stretch it to keep it loose.
A-Rod at second with nobody out, and Martinez fans.
Well, he was able to start that one in the strike zone and let it move out. Well, he starts him off with a first pitch fastball right down the middle. Edgar's upset that he took that one. He misses the change. Slider outside, another slider outside. Then he hits the outside corner with a fastball and he fouls off. Now watch this pitch. See, it starts in the strike zone and it's a little faster, and Edgar didn't have time enough to wait and make sure it was in the strike zone.
So in one part of the park, they're marking the strikeouts with subway cars. Here it's El Duque, get it, and then the K's. Well, any way you want to express it, 5 strikeouts for El Duque. Tomorrow night, if there is no baseball, you won't want to miss an all-new episode of the Emmy-winning presidential drama, The West Wing. That's tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on NBC. Connors went to the mound. Hernandez stays in to face Olerud with Ibanez on deck. Now they're going to walk Olerud. You think that means that after they get done walking Olerud, that they're also done with Hernandez?
No. You do that a lot of times with a pitcher, but I don't think a guy like Hernandez you would do that with. You'd bring Stanton in and let him pitch to Olerud, I believe. But
on the other hand, the best move is if you're going to walk a guy, you bring in the pitcher and let the new pitcher walk him, because then that discharges the responsibility of having to face at least one hitter.
Well, not only that, which is a good point, but not only that, you let him get accustomed to the mound by throwing a few pitches.
I guess there's a couple of schools of thought on that. You bring in a new pitcher and make him throw 4 high and wide, and some people think it throws off his rhythm.
Correct.
But what it also does is that it allows you the freedom to remove him if on the next hitter the opposing manager makes a move. But if it's the very first hitter you face and they bring up a pinch hitter, he's got to face at least the one guy, so you're stuck. I believe this all falls into the category of a moot point, because Ibanez is going to bat and Hernandez is going to pitch.
It was heavy, though.
Oh, man. Ibanez is struck out and flied out. Strike 1 to him.
Well, they felt like they could get Ibanez out with fastballs, as I said earlier, and they have been doing that. So he feels more comfortable coming after him with fastballs than he would trying to get Olerud with breaking balls and then missing and having to throw him a fastball. He feels like he has a couple of options with Ibanez that he did not have with Olerud.
Got the corner, 0-2.
Well, he threw him a fastball away. He fouls away. Now he goes with a fastball away again. And El Duque is ahead in the count 0-2. Almost came over the top with that fastball.
Guillen, who homered off El Duque, is on deck. Slice to left. That'll make the seats foul. Ibanez, coming off the bench much of the year, hit just .229 with 2 homers and 15 RBIs. In the lineup in right field tonight, as Lou Piniella tries to get as many left-handed bats into the lineup against Hernandez as possible. Exactly 100 pitches. Here's the 0-2. Bounced up there, and Posada blocks it.
We talked about El Duque used his changeup more against left-handed hitters. That's what he tries to do here, and he bounces it, not even close. But that's supposed to be a changeup moving away. Good job by Posada to get in front of it.
The 1-2 pitch. Bounce toward Jeter. He can't handle it, but it bounces right to Soho, who steps on second and can't get him at first. But what a break. It looked like it was going to be bases loaded, but the carom went to Soho, and they salvaged the force.
Good job by Jeter to keep this ball on the infield. He drive for it, but see, that was a funny hop. It was an in-between hop. Nice play by Soho as he grabbed bare hands it and then tries to make a throw to first base. And watch this dive, and watch the bounce. It's a in-between hop right there. See it bounce up, and Jeter tries to put both hands on it, just tries to keep it on the infield, which is the proper thing to do with a runner at second base. He keeps it on the infield, and Soho is able to get it out at second base. And Olerud, not the speediest of base runners, is out at second base.
So A-Rod at third, Ibanez at first with 2 down for Guillen.
And remember, Guillen hit a fastball into the upper deck here his last time up, so he quite naturally starts him off with a breaking ball and wants to throw him something other than a fastball.
And I mean, he smoked that fastball. It was gone in an eye blink. The 1-0 pitch. Misses.
There's the changeup. So he definitely doesn't want to throw him a fastball. Here's in the 4th inning, he throws him a fastball in, and Guillen hits it into the second deck. Well, actually the third deck here, the upper deck. And that gave the Mariners a 4-0 lead at the time.
Now Guillen sitting on a 2-0 pitch with McLemore on deck. 3-0.
And we'll see if Lou Piniella gives Guillen the green light on 3-0. I would say yes. Yeah, he looks like he's ready to hit.
Torre and Hernandez know it too. Called strike. Guillen thought it might have been ball 4.
Well, he got the fastball away, and that's a smart thing to do if you're Guillen. You want a fastball middle in, and this pitch is away, so you can't pull it, so why swing at it? And it is away.
He wheels to third with a bluff. A play that works once in a blue moon.
It was interesting.
Though I can't say I've ever seen a blue moon, for that matter.
It's interesting what the Yankees were doing. They're playing behind Ibanez at first base.
Unless it was Blue Moon Odom. I saw him once.
He was pretty good, too.
The runner breaks from first. There's ball 4. So Ibanez can pull up. The bases are loaded. This is the first time all year that Hernandez has walked as many as 3 in a game.
Well, the Yankees made him run there. When you set Tino Martinez behind the base runner like that, you automatically have to run the guy. And I'm not sure exactly why they did that.
Let me correct what I said. First time all year he's walked more than 3 in a game. That was his 4th. Rodriguez, who opened the inning with a double, is now at 3rd. Ibanez, who hit into a force play, is at 2nd. Guillen, who drew the walk, is at 1st. McLemore is the hitter with 2 out. The veteran is flied out and grounded out.
With the bases loaded, the first pitch is very, very important. If you're the hitter, McLemore should be sitting dead red here, looking for nothing but a fastball. And if he throws you something else, you have plenty of time to get another strike.
Strike 1.
Well, he threw him the fastball, but it's a pretty good pitch from El Duque right on the outside edge. Fastball away.
Line drive. Grabbed by Jeter on the short hop. He's got to make the play to first, and he does. The Mariners leave him loaded in the 6th. And it's still a 4-3 game. Not a clean catch. He had to come up throwing to get McLemore. Joe, you've often said shortstop is the most demanding position on the diamond.
And this is a great example of that. Jeter goes to his left, keeps the ball on the infield. Sojo's able to grab it and get 1 out at second base. And this just saves 2 runs here. Just a diving stop to his right. Now this is the tough part. He was so strong, has such a strong arm, he just snaps it over there. Most shortstops have to wind up and fire. He just got up and fired at the first base because he didn't have a shot at the runner at second base.
Brett Tomko back out to work the 6th. Posada, O'Neill, and Sojo to face him. Ball 1 down and in.
Well, Tomko has not been able to get a breaking ball over since he's been in a ball game. So if you're the Yankee hitters, you go up there and say, I'm going to sit on the fastball and try to hammer one, because he's not able to get anything else over the plate.
Fastball on the inside edge, 1-1. I don't think Piniella is going to give Tomko all that much rope in this situation. At the first sign of trouble, I think Piniella and Price are ready to go to the bullpen. A fairly jolly pair considering the tension of the situation and what's at stake. Two and 1. Jeter and A-Rod. What a shortstop showcase in this series. There has been some discussion of the possibility that they both could be wearing New York uniforms next year. Posada fouls it back and had a good cut. According to insiders, Rodriguez has chatted with John Olerud, at least a little bit, about what it's like to play for the Mets. That doesn't indicate that the Mets have the inside track, but the Mets are certainly one of the clubs he'll be talking to. You figure the Braves are also on that list, the Dodgers, and the Mariners vow that if it's at all possible, they'll keep him. The 2-2 pitch struck him out.
Well, he finally threw us something other than a fastball. That's a changeup, and a beautiful changeup. And he gets Posada swinging. He threw him 2 fastballs, the last one in. Now watch this. Good arm speed. Posada way out in front. Changeup rotation. Ball moving away from him just a little bit, but the speed is what got him.
Now Paul O'Neill, whose RBI single in the 4th, finished Halama and brought Tomko out of the bullpen. Fastball upstairs. Aniagua has been throwing for a while and now chooses to amuse himself in some other fashion. Tomko's 1-0 pitch in there.
Good changeup again. He has not been able to control his breaking ball, so he's gone to the changeup. First pitch was a high fastball, and this is a changeup.
Up and into O'Neill, who had 18 homers and exactly 100 RBIs for the regular season. O'Neill's ahead, 3-1. Soho on deck. Remember in game 5, the slumping O'Neill had the green light on a 3-0 pitch and swung at a pitch low and outside that he could only poke weakly to shortstop. Normally, he's more of a thinking man's hitter than that, but sometimes you press when you're struggling. Had a good rip at the 3-1 pitch and fouls it to the screen.
Well, this is not the normal Paul O'Neill swing, though. He's forcing himself to try to get the barrel out there. And even then, he doesn't quite get it out in front of the plate. Watch where he hits this ball, right on the back of the plate.
So at this stage, the combination of age and especially the injury has slowed his bat speed. It's as simple as that. If he can't get around on the fastball like he used to. The 3-2 pitch. Sliced down the left field line and in the seats foul.
There's Joe Torre. He's looking over his lineup card, and Lou Piniello's looking over his. Lou is sitting here saying if he can get Paul O'Neill out and Luis Sojo, I'll be in pretty good shape again. Then he'll have his bullpen set up basically the way that he wants.
Bounce toward the hole. Olerud to his right. Makes a nice play, and Tomko covers.
Good pitch there by Tomko. Pitches down, and O'Neill tries to get to it. And a nice play at first base. And watch, this pitch is actually ball 4. You see how low it is. But O'Neill gets a piece of it and he hits it on the ground in the hole. Nice play here by Olerud. Watch, he goes in the hole to get it. And then he leads Tomko to the first base. It may seem like a little thing, but Tomko gets to first base very well. I mean, he immediately breaks. A lot of times they break late, and that puts pressure on the fielder that's throwing the ball to him. But he breaks very quickly, and he gets over there and gives you a good target.
You know, the Yankees could win the World Series, underlined could, this year. They could win their 4th championship in 5 years, and normally you don't make big changes after doing something like that. And yet they'll have decisions to make with tested and beloved veterans like Paul O'Neill in right, Tino Martinez at first.
And this may be the point that Lou Piniella's seen enough, because he sees that Tomko is struggling not only to throw strikes but to get the ball where he wants.
He'd like him to be able to finish off Soho, then he could start the 7th inning with Paniagua, let Paniagua work into the 8th, or possibly go to Rhodes or someone like that in the 8th and set it up for Sasaki in the 9th. That would be your plan.
Well, that looks like he's going to try to stick to that plan.
Joe, as an avid golfer, you play to a 5 or 6 handicap, and that's without cheating. Golf returns to NBC this Saturday at noon Eastern as NBC presents the President's Cup. Tiger Woods leads the Americans on their home soil as they begin their mission to win the Cup back from Greg Norman and the international team. The President's Cup, 12 noon Eastern on NBC. And after the visit to the mound, Tomko gets strike 1 in there to Soho. I was glad to hear that your dad is feeling better.
Good. I mean, and I want to say hello to him. My dad, Leonard Morgan, back in Oakland, is he taught me all the baseball I learned as a kid, and he's watching. And he's feeling a little bit under the weather for a couple of days, but he's a lot better now. And I thank you. And I'm sure he does too. He's a big baseball fan.
Count runs to 2-2 on Soho. 2 out, nobody on, bottom of the 6th. And Seattle, as you see, in front by 1. Soho just hangs in there. A Game 7 is pressure packed, obviously. The very 2 words, Game 7, mean pressure and drama. Smile curling around Piniella's lips. But there's no doubt you don't have to be a genius to realize that there'd be greater pressure in that dugout, where that man, the Game 7 starter, if it goes that far, Andy Pettitte, sits. Fouled off. If Seattle forces a Game 7, it's only the Yankees who can fall beneath expectations and disappoint an entire city, which is salivating for a Subway Series. All the Yankees can do is par it. All they can do is par this hole. That's all.
Correct.
The 2-2 pitch. Full count.
The problem with a Game 7 is anything can happen, and that's we've seen a lot of things happen in Game 7s. One bad pitch here, one misplay there, and you can lose the ball game. So the only team that wants a Game 7 obviously are the Seattle Mariners, because they think they have a chance. But if you're the Yankees, you want to finish it off today.
Tomko can't finish Soho off. Do you know the last time the Yankees played a Game 7? They played a couple of deciding Game 5s in the division series, 97 against Cleveland, this year against Oakland. But for all the postseasons, do you know the last time they played a Game 7 in either the LCS or the World Series?
No.
You weren't even in the big leagues yet, I don't think. What was your first year in the bigs?
65.
It was the year before you came up, 1964. In the World Series, they lost Game 7 at St. Louis against the Cardinals. Another 3-2 pitch and another foul.
And that's why they call this a dynasty, and they also have 27 flags up there, right? They've never had a lot of pressure.
The Mariners have never faced a Game 7. They did win that memorable 5th game in the first round 5 years ago against the Yanks. And there you see the Yankee record. They're trying for their 37th pennant and a chance for their 26th World Series title. In the air to left, Martin going back to the edge of the track and almost against the wall as he backs up to take it. Tomko, not without some difficulty, but nonetheless sets them down in order in the 6th. And we're back after these messages and a word from your local station. Here's the March 1st game summary. Seattle jumped in front with 2 in the first, RBI doubles by Rodriguez and Martinez. Guillen doubled the advantage with a shot to the upper deck with a man aboard. And then the Yankees came back with 3 in the 4th, but they left runners at first and third with 1 out as Tomko came out of the bullpen to strand them and keep it 4-3. That's where we stand now as El Duque works the 7th.
And it looks like El Duque is not really throwing the ball well, Bob. Those 2 pitches look like he was aiming the ball just to throw a strike.
Two and one now to Wilson.
That's 82-mile-an-hour fastball. That's not his fastball. He's just aiming it, trying to throw a strike here.
Well, the last thing he wants to do is walk Wilson, the number 9 hitter, starting this inning. Now the count levels. Nobody throwing in the Yankee bullpen right now. Supreme confidence in El Duque, who fans Wilson.
And that's a 75-mile-an-hour breaking ball. So he was able to get Wilson, but he's still not throwing very hard. But he knows how to pitch, and you can see that pitch right off the outside corner. Nothing Wilson could do with it.
Javier's 0 for 3, and he takes ball 1. The Yankees have never lost a postseason game in which El Duque has appeared. He's 7-0, and they've also won the no decisions. A little pop to the left side and foul ground. It looks like Brocious will take it, and he does for the 2nd out. We're in the top of the 7th at Yankee Stadium. Bob Costas with Joe Morgan. Seattle led 4-0. The Yankees came back with 3 in the 4th, and it's been 4-3 since.
And we talk about him being smart. He threw Stan Javier a breaking ball away, and then he threw a fastball up and in. Didn't have a lot on the fastball, but he threw it in a great location.
Martin has walked, fouled out, flied out. Strike 1. To get another left-handed bat in, he's replaced Mike Cameron in effect in the batting order, although Javier plays Cameron's position tonight in center field. Cameron had been just 8 for 29 in the postseason. There he is. And all 5 of his hits in this series had been singles. Fisted foul. So we asked Cameron what he does when he's in a slump. He said, I went home and I listened to comedy stuff. I listened to Richard Pryor. I listened to Martin Lawrence. And just when he was cracking up and ready to go, Piniella benched him. Nonetheless, he's got some good material to share with his mates in the dugout. The 0-2 pitch. Got him. Hernandez struck out 2 in the inning. 7 now for the game. Stretch time in the Bronx. 4-3 Mariners. Changes for Seattle. Martin is out of the game. Mike Cameron comes on to play center field. Javier moves from center to left. Cameron will bat in the 2nd spot, the spot on the order vacated by Martin, who made the last out on the top of the 7th, and Jose Paniagua is the new pitcher. Scott Brocious scheduled to lead off in the bottom of the 7th. But Torrey goes to his bench, and Jose Vizcaino, a switch hitter, will bat for Brocious.
And Paniagua basically throws a fastball and a splitter, but he uses his fastball very well and 90% of the time.
Ball one to Vizcaino. Paniagua from the stretch. Strike one, 1-1.
Vizcaino played a lot down the stretch. He was actually the second baseman while Knobloch was DHing. And then when the playoffs started, Soho played most of the time at second base.
Ground ball. Olerud can't get it. McLemore does. Pegs to first, but not in time. So the well-traveled veteran Jose Vizcaino with a leadoff pinch hit to start the seventh.
This is an interesting play here. Now watch. Olerud has a chance to catch this ball, but he's running towards second base. Now watch. He lets it go. McLemore makes the play, but by the time he gets it to first base, Vizcaino runs well, and he's safe.
So here's a double plus for Joe Torre. Brocious has been slumping, only one RBI in both the Division Series and LCS combined. Now he cheers for the man who replaced him, so not only does Vizcaino reach, but he's a faster runner than Brocious. And when the Yankees go out to play the eighth, Vizcaino will be at second base, and Soho will move from second to third.
I think you have to bunt Knobloch in this situation. You have to try to...
He squares, he bunts it foul.
And it's not easy to bunt a guy like Paniagua, who throws about 90 miles an hour with some movement. Knobloch drops the bat underneath, and that's why he pops it up. A lot of times when a hitter's going to bunt, you try to throw the fastball up because that's the toughest pitch to bunt. You usually will pop it up.
Vizcaino back easily. Knobloch at the plate. 0 for 3 tonight. The one sacrifice bunt is misleading because Knobloch can bunt. He's always hit at or near the top of the lineup. He squares again. He gets it down. A beauty up the first base line. Wilson's throw just in time to McLemore covering. And Vizcaino is in scoring position with one out.
Wilson made a nice play, but he didn't get a lot on the throw, and Knobloch almost beats it out. Now watch, Wilson doesn't make a hard throw to first base. Kind of throws it off balance, and he barely gets it there in time.
And a difficult throw in that he doesn't have much room with Knobloch hugging the line.
But you have to give Knobloch credit. He ran outside of the baseline, because if he hits it, if he's in the baseline and the ball hits him, they can call it, you know, call him for interference. But he ran in the box. He was on the outside of the line there.
Knobloch should know that rule better than anybody. The shoe was on the other foot, or the glove was on the other hand. He was in the field, remember, a couple of years ago when Travis Fryman had the ball hit him in the LCS against Cleveland. And Knobloch fell asleep on the play, argued it, while a live ball rolled into foul territory. All right, here's Jeter. Taking strike one.
Paniagua has a good sinking fastball. You can see there, the bottom fell out of that, and it was about 90 miles an hour.
Paniagua's 0-1 pitch. After checking Vizcaino, he comes in tight on Jeter. Vizcaíno pinch hitting for Brocious. Beat out an infield hit. Knobloch sacrificed him to second. Fouled away, 1-2. Paniagua started with the Expos. He's been with the Mariners the past 3 years. Jeter's 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Wow, Paniagua not only has gotten him out, he struck him out almost every time. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Well, if you're Lou Piniella, you're going to have a decision to make anyway. If you're able to get Jeter out, then you have David Justice up. He's got Arthur Rhodes throwing in the pen.
The 2-2 pitch. And Jeter hangs in. There's Rhodes, who was roughed up the last time he worked from the Yankee Stadium mound in the 8th inning of Game 2. Bouncing ball left side. It gets through. Vizcaíno had retreated to second and can only make third. A little trickler that got in between Guillen and Rodriguez, but Vizcaíno wasn't sure, and the Yankees have runners at the corners now with 1 out.
Well, the ball wasn't hit hard, but he jammed him, but he found the left side hole between short and third. Well, Vizcaíno can't go because if the ball is hit and Guillen catches it right there, he can go, but he's already going back. But he wouldn't have been able to score anyway. You have to break right away if you're going to be able to score on a ground ball like that. And I guess Lou Piniella says sometimes he comes to the mound, he's not sure about what he's going to do. He's taking a long time to get out there, but I guess he is sure this time.
He's taken the baseball from Paniagua. He wants Rhodes, and they both must be steamed. Little infield hit, little trickler, a sacrifice, but that's all that's needed to finish Paniagua. Joe, Arthur Rhodes and David Justice have a history, a recent history.
Well, in Game 2, Justice started a 7-run 8th inning with a double, a high fastball, and he hits it off the wall in the left center field. But on Sunday, he got a chance to face Justice again, and he strikes him out with a curveball diving down and away. So expect to see Arthur Rhodes try to get ahead of Justice so that he can throw him the curveball and get him out with.
And there's the whole book in terms of Rhodes and Justice. 4 for 11 with a homer. Vizcaíno is at third. Jeter is at first. Justice, who's 1 for 3, is at the plate with 1 out.
I don't think they'll run Jeter in this situation. They're going to give Justice a chance to drive in the tying run from third rather than risk having Jeter thrown out trying to steal the base.
He lays off and takes a ball.
Lou Piniella said Rhodes can throw Justice a fastball. He just has to keep it down.
Rhodes, the longtime Oriole. Yankee fans remember him well. This is his first year with Seattle. His 1-0 pitch to Justice. Taken high.
One thing about the Yankees, they just keep coming after you, and that's why they're such a good ball club. They were behind 4-0, and they just have come back to a 4-3. Now they've stayed 1 run back for the last 3 innings. Now all of a sudden, here they are putting pressure on you again here in the 7th.
Swing and a pop that's out of play.
Well, he gets a fastball, but this one is down a little bit and moving away from him. And Justice not able to get all of it. Moving away, and he fouls it off. He contacts it right out in front of the plate. Good swing.
The 2-1 pitch. 3 balls and a strike. They checked down at third. He didn't go around. Mark Hirschbeck confirming the initial judgment of brother John Hirschbeck back at the plate.
Well, Justice has an idea, but he's able to stop the bat. The Mariners bench thought he went.
Now Justice sitting on a 3-1 pitch, which is coming. Swinging a long drive to right. This one is on its way. This one is gone. Pitch, and a veteran hitter who knew what to do with it.
Well, they keep coming after you, and you make one mistake, and they make you pay. This is a 3-1 fastball. It's about the same spot as the fastball he hit off the wall into left center field, but the last time he had 2 strikes on him. This time he's ahead in the count. He can go ahead and pull the ball. He's out in front of the fastball, and the Yankees lead. They just keep coming after you time and time again, and you cannot afford to make any mistakes.
What was once a 4-run Seattle lead has gone up in smoke in a pair of 3-run innings, the 4th and now the 7th. And for Rhodes, Justice was not tempered by mercy. A strike to Williams. You think about this inning. And Lou Piniella will for the entire winter unless the Mariners rally. A dinky little infield hit by Vizcaíno. A nice sacrifice bunt by Knobloch. A seeing eye single by Jeter, and he has to take Paniagua out. At least he thought he did. He brings in Rhodes, and Justice burned him, just as he has 2 out of 3 times in this series now, just as he has in many of their head-to-head confrontations. Well, and this year against left-handers, Justice has homered about once every 9 at-bats. So, as every big league manager knows, their moves are apt to be questioned. This one will be, and Piniella knows it.
Well, he figured he had to get the left-hander in there against Justice, but as you mentioned, Justice has had a lot of success off of Rhodes before, and Rhodes not able to get the curveball over put him in jeopardy.
Williams goes the opposite way, and it kicks up chalk down the line. He rounds first, but he's held there as Ibanez is on it quickly.
Fastball up and away, and Williams gets on top of it and hits it inside the line. But the ball ricochets right to Ibanez, and he's able to hold Bernie Williams to a single.
Not only have the Mariners surrendered the lead, but they are at most 1 inning away from Mariano Rivera. Mesa up in the Seattle bullpen. So as a practical matter, they may be down to 3 outs to get back into this.
Well, there's Mariano Rivera getting up now. And maybe El Duque has a charmed life. He was trailing 4-0 in this ball game. Now he leads 6-4.
Hit the opposite way by Martinez, and it lands fair. Bounces into the seats for a double. There's really been only 1 ball truly hit hard in this inning. Of course, that ball was really blistered by Justice.
Fastball away. Tino just gets enough of it to get it down the line. It appeared that it might curve foul, but it stays fair. You can see it slashing away toward the line, but it's well in the fair territory, and it bounces into the stands, which means it's a ground rule double.
Brian Price, the pitching coach, who's at the mound. Seattle jumped on El Duque with 2 in the first. RBI doubles by Rodriguez and Martinez. Carlos Guillen, one of the lineup moves made by Piniella tonight to try to get extra left-handed bats in against the Yankee right-hander. Hit one into the upper deck with a man out on the 4th. They led it 4-0. The Yankees got 3 in their half of the inning. But Tomko left runners at first and third with only 1 out coming out of the pen. And they nursed that 4-3 lead into the 7th when the Yankees exploded once more. They're going to walk Posada. Which means that Rhodes will stay in to face O'Neill unless they pinch hit for O'Neill. You think about the Yankees at mid-season being interested in Sammy Sosa and then in Juan Gonzalez, and eventually they, quote, settled for David Justice. Seems that has turned out pretty well.
Well, Justice came over and did a great job. He hit 20 home runs and drove in 60 runs, which was the most of anyone on the Yankees after he arrived. And a lot of people felt that he was their most valuable player at that point.
O'Neill is 1 for 3, an RBI single in the 4th. A hit here would bust it open. Rhodes works to it, and he lays off ball 1.
First pitch to Paul O'Neill is down and out of the strike zone.
A bouncing ball toward the hole and through. Williams scores. Martinez being waved home. Ibanez' throw to the plate is offline. It's 8-4 New York.
Well, it's another ground ball that finds a hole, but guess what? They put the ball in play and they find some holes. And Paul O'Neill grounds this ball into right field. It hits sharply enough that it goes through past the diving Mark McLemore. And Ibanez's throw is not in time as 2 more runs come in to score. And the Yankees are trying to put this one away.
In the category of closing the barn door, after all the horses have come stampeding out, Manella removes Rhodes and goes to Mesa. Well, the last 3 were enormous. And it's not that much of a surprise that Justice is the career leader in LCS RBIs. He's always been with good teams, the Braves, the Indians, now the Yankees. He's been in the playoffs virtually every season. On comes Mesa. But the Yankees are about to bring on the Mets. Soho's the 9th man to bat. And there's still only 1 out.
And if you're the Yankees, Paul O'Neill had a chance to hit against the left-handed pitcher, and he was able to come through with a base hit. True enough, it wasn't a sharp line drive, but it's a base hit.
Two and 0. If Seattle had been able to hold this lead, the Mets would have spent the night wondering whether or not they'd have to fire up a charter to Seattle instead of just hop on the subway. It's beginning to look as if the first Subway Series in 44 years will commence here in this ballpark Saturday night. Games 1 and 2 are in the American League City. The middle games 3, 4, 5 will be at Shea, and 6 and 7, if necessary, back in the American League City. Mesa falls behind 3-0 and complicates matters by walking Soho to load the bases.
And this guy, started everything off, and he's back up again.
How often do big innings start with little things? Vizcaino's infield hit, following Knobloch's nifty sacrifice. A little trickler through the left side by Derek Jeter, which prompted Piniella to remove Paniagua, bring on Rhodes, whose 3-1 pitch was crushed by Justice, which seems to have effectively crushed the pennant hopes of the Mariners.
Well, David Justice has had a lot of big hits in the postseason. He had the home run in Game 7 to give the Atlanta Braves their first World Championship.
In left field, Javier makes the catch. Posada tags, and there's no play on him. Tack on another. It's a 6-run 7 and a 9-4 lead. So how important has Vizcaino been off the bench?
Well, Joe Torre made the decision to pinch hit for Scott Brocious, who had been struggling, and gave Vizcaino a chance, and he came in and he did the job.
In this inning for Joe, pinch hit single, and he scored, and now a sacrifice fly. A strike to Knobloch. So in Game 2, El Duque trailed 1-0 when his teammates came up in the bottom of the 8th. They exploded for 7. He got the win. He is the pitcher of record as they score 6 times in the bottom of the 7th here. Rolled foul. So, barring a Seattle miracle, Hernandez stands to see his career postseason record go to 8-0.
Well, he impressed me tonight because he didn't have his great stuff. He didn't have his great control, but he used it smart. Because I felt in the 7th inning he had run out of gas, but he was able to reach back, get just enough on his fastball and spot it well so that he was able to get out of the inning.
The 0-2 pitch taken high. The man of the hour in the Bronx. Justice was an important part of both those big innings. Leadoff double in Game 2. Turnaround 3-run homer here in Game 6. Big smiles for Justice and the hitting coach, Chris Chambliss, seated alongside him. And the 1-2 pitch from Mesa to Knobloch, blocked by Wilson. Full count, and the runners will be on the move. Derek Jeter on deck. There they go, and here it comes, and they're loaded again.
look at this ball club, the Yankees, you look at their lineup and you try to think how they match up against the New York Mets. And the Mets are going to have two left-handed pitchers, Hampton and Leiter, who will pitch at least 4 of those 7 games if it goes 7. And I still think that left-handed pitchers have a better chance against the Yankees than the right-handers do.
Unless they're named Arthur Rhodes in this series.
Correct.
Well, it certainly applies, or seems to. 6 outs away from the long-awaited Subway Series. 0-2 now to Jeter. Justice may get another chance here in the 7th. He's on deck. O'Neill at third, Soho at second, Knobloch at first. 6 runs home in the 7th. And with 2 out, the 0-2 pitch to Jeter. Got him looking. But the Yankees score 6 times on 6 hits, and this was the biggest one. A 3-run homer on a 3-1 pitch, which changed it from 4-3 Seattle to 6-4 New York. It's 9-4 now. From the Bronx to Queens, there's Shea Stadium in the distance. The last Subway Series, 1956. Very eventful. It included Don Larson's perfect game in Game 5 at Yankee Stadium. The last hit of Jackie Robinson's career won Game 6 for the Dodgers. In Game 7, Yogi Berra hit 2 home runs at Ebbets Field, and Johnny Cooks pitched a shutout. Robinson was the last out. Strike 3 got away from Berra. He threw to first. And the Yankees had won the World Series 4 games to 3. The 7 train will take you to Shea. The 4 train to the Bronx and Yankee Stadium. In 1956, the subway token was 15 cents. It's 10 times that now. It's $1.50. Meanwhile, El Duque goes right back out there. Vizcaíno is at second. He started the ruckus in the 7th with a pinch hit. Soho moves from second to third. Brocious is out of the game.
And of course, that 6-run inning has given El Duque a little more life.
Meanwhile, this could be Alex Rodriguez's last at-bat as a Seattle Mariner, depending upon what happens in the offseason. And he drives one to deep left. Back near the wall and gone. Well, if that's the way he says goodbye, he does it with some style. Taking Hernandez deep to make it 9-5.
Well, he's been trying to get Rodriguez out the entire evening with fastballs up. And I think his fastball is lost just enough that Rodriguez is able to get to this high fastball, and he hits it over the wall in left center field. He gets it up again, but just not enough on it.
What a game for A-Rod. 3 for 4, 2 doubles and a homer, and a sparkling defensive play thrown in. He is some player. And even if you think that some of the salaries in baseball are a little crazy, nobody deserves the dough more than that kid does. If he winds up being the highest paid player in baseball, and most people think he will, at least until the next go round when the market gets reestablished, you can't quibble with it. 25 years old, and many people will tell you he's the best position player in baseball. 2-1 to Edgar Martinez. See Don Zimmer right there? How can you miss him? He played in the last Subway Series. He was a member of the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1956. Martinez skies one down the line in right field. O'Neill toward the foul line. No play. Let's check in with Jimmy Roberts.
Well, Bob, as you mentioned, Don Zimmer played in that 1956 World Series. As a matter of fact, he is the only man remaining in a major league uniform who played in that last Subway Series. He said it's hard to describe the feeling, but all these years later, he thinks it would be wilder than ever. He said he was rooting for a Subway Series last year, and he's rooting for one this year, if for no other reason than he's tired of traveling. You might also remember that Don Zimmer was the opening day third baseman for the Mets when they first started. And he says the way they played back then, he thought it'd be 1,000 years before they ever got to the series.
All right, Jimmy. Well, they're going to the series without Jesse Gonder and Elio Chacon and Rod Canneel. They've upgraded a bit. But those old Mets of Casey Stengel sure were fun. They won 40 and lost 120 in their first year. And that's without making up a couple of rainouts. Martinez draws a walk.
And out comes Joe Torre. They're not going to let Hernandez sit out there and struggle in this situation.
So he'll ask Rivera to get 6 outs, huh?
Well, he's rested, and it doesn't take him long to get many outs.
He doffs the cap and leaves to a standing ovation. He threw 128 pitches before turning it over to Rivera. Aerial coverage from the Bud 1 airship, delivered fresh daily from a brewery near you. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Well, here comes Mr. Automatic. Unscored upon in his last 23 postseason appearances. A streak which, as you see, now stretches to 33 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. It's a postseason record if you choose to combine the World Series and the playoffs. Whitey Ford threw 33 straight scoreless innings in the early 60s, all in the World Series. Rivera was very gracious upon breaking the record. He said, "I've met Whitey Ford. He's a nice man. I'm glad that the record stays in the Yankee family."
Well, as long as they keep getting in the World Series, he will probably have 33 scoreless innings in the World Series before it's over.
He turns it up a notch in October. There were times when he appeared almost hittable during this regular season, but not when it's counted most.
What makes him so great is he has great control with great velocity and movement on his pitches.
Olerud has flied out, doubled, had an intentional walk. You know who held that World Series scoreless innings streak before Whitey Ford broke it?
Yes, another Yankee.
Actually, he did it for the Red Sox, though.
Oh, but Babe Ruth, I mean, but
Yep.
we don't think of him as a Red Sox.
Or as a pitcher, for that matter.
Yeah.
There it is. A ball and a strike to Olerud. Rivera was initially scouted as a shortstop. They didn't think he'd hit enough, converted him to pitcher. He was a starter in the minors. 2-1 to Olerud. When he first came up, John Wetland was the Yankee closer, and Rivera was a devastating setup man. But the presence of Rivera allowed the Yankees to let Wetland go as a free agent and hand the closer's role to this slender Panamanian. His 2-1 pitch is hit hard to deep right field. Turning is O'Neill, and this ball is off the wall. Olerud heading for second, in with a double, and the Mariners make some noise in the 8th. Second and third, nobody out.
What was it, that famous other famous Yankee said, Yogi Berra,
It ain't over.
It's never over till it's over. And this is a cut fastball that doesn't get in, and Olerud rips it to right field, and it just misses going out of the ballpark as it hits off the wall, the top of the wall, and he's in the second with a double. And what you try to do if you're the Mariners, just get the tying run to the plate,
which they are one base runner from doing. Up and into Ibanez. Rodriguez homered. Edgar Martinez walked. That finished Hernandez. Olerud clouts a double off the wall in right center to greet Rivera. Second and third, nobody out. And a ball and a strike now to Ibanez. For the record, Martinez at third belongs to Hernandez. So the runner at second would have to score to snap Rivera's postseason streak. But a base hit here makes it a game again. Into shallow right field. Coming in is O'Neill. He makes the catch. And nobody's going anywhere. Now it's Carlos Guillen, who had a long home run off Hernandez back in the fourth.
Everyone, left-handed hitters, right-handed hitters, everyone knows exactly what Rivera is going to do. The trouble is, unless he makes a mistake, you can't handle him. He always throws the cut fastball in on the hands of the left-handed hitter, and the cut fastball away from the right-handed hitters.
Up and into Guillen, who in addition to his home run has walked twice tonight. McLemore on deck. Bouncer back to Rivera. He holds the runners and he throws him out. This guy's so tough, he doesn't even want other people's runners to score.
Well, it's a cut fastball, but it doesn't get in. Guillen had a chance to hit that one, but he broke his bat and grounded it back to Rivera. As you see, bounces off the mound very quickly and makes the play.
You know, who's to say if the pitching pattern would be the same or if Torrey's moves would have been exactly the same, but it shows you how often the wind goes out of a team's sails. You think a game is over when the lead changes hands, but had it remained 6-4, the bases were empty after Justice's home run. If the Mariners just hold on there, this could be very, very interesting now.
Correct.
Something for Piniella to chew on during the offseason. McLemore hits it hard. It hits the bag and bounds into right field. 2 runs will score. And it's a 9-7 game. The tying run comes to the plate. And the run that could bring them to within 1 is in scoring position.
As I said, you know where he's going to throw you. It's going to be a cut fastball in. McLemore is able to get the barrel of the bat out there on that inside slot cut fastball, and it hits the bag and bounces over the head of Tino Martinez, and 2 runs come in to score, and that also breaks Mariano Rivera's scoreless streak. The ball hits the bag. You see Tino diving for it. It's a fair ball, and the Mariners have scored 3 runs here in the 8th inning.
And up comes the former Yankee, Jay Buhner, to bat for Dan Wilson. He hit 26 home runs this year. big cut and a miss at a high fastball. Now, officially, Rivera's streak is over. He recorded 2 outs. 34 innings. That's where it ends. A ball and a strike. Well, the Mariners have closed it back up, and even if they don't score again here in the 8th, they've got to approach the 9th with more confidence than they'd ordinarily feel against Rivera. Down the right field line and out of play. Sasaki gets up. No doubt he'll pitch the bottom of the 8th in an effort to keep it close. By the way, Seattle has turned the batting order over. A-Rod is guaranteed to get another turn at bat. If one more man reaches, Martinez will bat again before this game ends. The 1-2 is high.
Well, that's what they want to do. They want to try to get Jay Buhner on a high fastball. He swung at the first one, and then they made a mistake and got the ball down, and he almost hit it out of the ballpark. They fouled it off, but then they go back upstairs again.
Fouled out of play. Buhner hit his 26 home runs in fewer than 400 at-bats. The clock has struck midnight. Exactly 12 o'clock. The 2-2 struck him out through the high heat by him. Buhner was the tying run at the plate, but the Mariners have made it interesting again. 9-7 New York. A slow roller, but Martinez doesn't run well. Jeter up with it. Starts spreading the news. New York, New York.